Perhaps you don't realize it, but there are days when something greater is fighting inside you. Days when your heart feels heavy, your mind restless, and your body too tired to keep pretending to be strong. There is an invisible field forming between what you feel and what you believe. And it's there, in that silent territory, that spiritual warfare begins. It doesn't announce its arrival or come with thunder or lightning or the sound of swords. Sometimes it enters as a discreet thought, a small doubt, an innocent distraction. But when you notice, it's already fighting battles inside your soul. It's not just tiredness or anxiety. It's war. A war that cannot be seen but can be felt. A war that doesn't fire bullets but thoughts. That doesn't wound the body but tries to dominate the soul. The enemy doesn't need to destroy visibly what he can corrupt quietly. He doesn't quite have to erase your faith all at once. He just needs to make it irrelevant. It's enough that you pray without faith, live without purpose, listen without absorbing. That's why spiritual warfare is more dangerous today than ever. Because it's silent. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world. Ephesians 6:12. We live in a time when evil has learned to disguise itself as normality. It doesn't come with horns. It comes with distractions. It doesn't shout. It whispers. It doesn't invade. It convinces. The enemy doesn't push you into sin all at once. He simply makes you walk slowly enough to forget your purpose. He surrounds you with small compromises, acceptable excuses, and harmless justifications. And when you realize it, your heart is distant, your faith cold, and your mind too tired to pray. He doesn't steal suddenly. He drains slowly. That's how evil operates in modern times, not as a threat but as a routine. It wears the mask of hurry, of productivity, of I have to handle everything. It hides inside the need to be accepted and the fear of being left behind. While you try to balance all these pressures, the enemy quietly dismantles piece by piece the structure of your peace. Watch and pray that you enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. Matthew 26:41. Today's spiritual war is fought within minds and hearts, but also within screens, noise, and endless demands. The enemy discovered that he no longer needs to scare mankind. It is enough to entertain it. While you seek to fill yourself with everything the world offers, he slowly empties the space that once belonged to God. He wants your attention because he knows that where your focus is, there your heart will also be. There's a war behind every choice you make, between giving up and holding on, between silence and prayer, between reacting and forgiving. Each decision is a trench, each thought an arrow, each response a reflection of which voice you chose to hear. In this war, silence is a powerful weapon. The silence of those who pray in secret, trust without seeing, and remain when everything seems lost. The battlefield has changed places. Once it was the desert, now it's the mind. Once it was the body, now it's the heart. If the enemy conquers your thoughts, he no longer needs to control your actions. That's why he plants fear in your ideas, weariness in your dreams, and doubt in your prayers. He knows that if he can make you doubt who you are in God, everything else will collapse. But there is something hell has never understood: the power of a surrendered heart. Whoever kneels before God fears no opposing force. Whoever bows in prayer becomes invisible to the enemy. He may attack everything around you, but he cannot reach the one who hides under the shadow of the Almighty. Submit yourselves, therefore, to God. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. James 4:7. Spiritual warfare isn't about strength, it's about perseverance. Victory doesn't belong to those who speak louder, but to those who remain. The enemy doesn't fear the noise of faith. He fears its consistency. He fears the believer who, even tired, still kneels. He fears the wounded soul that still lifts its hands. Faith isn't what we feel. It's what we choose to keep. And maybe as you listen to these words, a battlefield is forming inside you. Doubts on one side, God's promises on the other. Guilt tries to scream louder, and grace whispers, I'm still here. The world says the war is outside, but God shows you it's within. The real enemy isn't the one chasing you. It is the one trying to convince you to stop fighting, and it's in that exact moment that God's presence manifests, not as spectacle but as strength, not as an answer, but as presence. Be still, and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. To be still isn't to give up. It's to change strategy, to stop fighting with your hands and begin to fight with your heart. It is realizing you can control everything but can trust the one who controls the impossible. Faith isn't a shield to avoid wounds. It has the strength to walk even while bleeding. The enemy knows when you try to fight alone, and that's when he weakens you. But when you drop the sword and bend your knees, heaven enters the scene. God never called you to win with human strength. He called you to endure through faith. And whoever endures, wins. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. 2 Corinthians 10:4. Prayer is the invisible code of victory. When you pray, hell retreats. When you worship in pain, heaven moves. When you forgive, chains fall. When you remain, God fights for you. That's why the enemy tries to exhaust you, distract you, and make you believe prayer doesn't change anything. Because he knows that every time you speak to God, something shifts, even if you don't see it yet. Faith is the antidote to chaos. It's the thread that connects the human to the divine. It is the silent response of one who learned that victory isn't at the absence of war, but the presence of God within it. That presence changes everything. Where the Holy Spirit dwells, fear loses ground. Where there is worship, hell loses power. Where there is hope, despair dissolves. The enemy may whisper that you're alone, that no one understands, that God is silent. But remember, God's silence isn't the end. It's the pause between your cry and his intervention. It's in silence that he watches, molds, and prepares. While you think nothing is happening, heaven is moving. While you wait, angels are being positioned. While you pray, God is writing the ending of a battle you can't yet see. The Lord will fight for you, and you shall hold your peace. Exodus 14:14. When the noise of war is too loud, choose the silence of faith. When your mind wants to give up, remember who called you. When darkness seems to close around you, remember, light doesn't need much space to shine, just a crack. Spiritual warfare is real, but victory is too, and that victory isn't far. It's within you. Because the one who lives in you is greater than anything that surrounds you. Greater is he who is in you than he who is in the world. 1 John 4:4. You are not fighting alone. Every prayer is a call to the heavenly army. Every word of faith is a sword raised in the unseen. Every tear is a seed of victory. And every day you choose to remain is proof that God is still with you. If this message spoke to your heart, write, I choose to remain. Like this video, subscribe, activate the bell, and share it with someone who needs to know they're not fighting alone. Because every time you spread the light, darkness retreats. And while the world sleeps, God still raises warriors who fight on their knees. You are one of them.